हरते बाबा,
दीनों के दुख हरते बाबा,
दीनों के दुख हरते बाबा,
दीनों के दुख हरते बाबा।
ओ बाबा साईं बाबा,
साईं बाबा,
राम ही बाबा, कृष्ण ही बाबा,
कृष्ण ही बाबा,
राम ही बाबा, कृष्ण ही बाबा,
कृष्ण ही बाबा,
नरदेही नारायण बाबा, नरदेही नारायण बाबा, नरदेही नारायण बाबा, नरदेही नारायण बाबा, ओ बाबा साईं बाबा,
साईं बाबा,
दीनों के दुख हरते बाबा,
दीनों के दुख हरते बाबा,
ओ बाबा साईं बाबा,
साईं बाबा,
राम ही बाबा, कृष्ण ही बाबा,
कृष्ण ही बाबा,
नरदेही नारायण बाबा, नरदेही नारायण बाबा, नरदेही नारायण बाबा, ओ बाबा साईं बाबा, ओ बाबा साईं बाबा, ओ बाबा साईं बाबा। जननी साईं देवी दयामयी, जननी साईं देवी दयामयी, जननी साईं देवी दयामयी, जननी साईं देवी दयामयी, जननी मां कृपा जननी प्रेमदायिनी मां
जननी प्रेमदायिनी मां
जननी प्रेमदायिनी मां
जननी प्रेमदायिनी मां
जननी साई देवी दयामयी
जननी साई देवी दयामयी
जननी मां कृपालिनी मां
जननी मां कृपालिनी मां
तुम हो प्रेम स्वरूपिणी मां
प्रेम स्वरूपिणी मां
दया करो सत्य साई मां
सत्य साई मां
कृपा करो सत्य साई मां
करो सत्य साई मां
जननी प्रेमदायिनी मां
जननी प्रेमदायिनी मां
जननी प्रेमदायिनी मां
जननी प्रेमदायिनी मां
जननी साई देवी दयामयी राधे गोविंद गोपाला जय गोविंद राधे गोपाला
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 गोविंद गोविंद 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 गोपाला
राधे गोविंद गोपाला जय गोविंद राधे गोपाला
राधे गोविंद गोपाला जय गोविंद राधे गोपाला
कृष्णा मधुसूदना मधुसूदना कृष्णा
कृष्णा मधुसूदना मधुसूदना कृष्णा
कृष्णा मधुसूदना मधुसूदना कृष्णा
कृष्णा मधुसूदना मधुसूदना कृष्णा
गोविंद गोविंद गोपाला
गोविंद गोविंद गोपाला
साई गोविंद गोविंद गोपाला
साई गोविंद गोविंद गोपाला
Gopala,
Govinda Govinda Gopala,
Radhe Govinda Gopala, Jaya Govinda Radhe Gopala,
Radhe Govinda Gopala, Jaya Govinda Radhe Gopala,
Krishna Madhusudana, Madhusudana Krishna,
Krishna Madhusudana, Madhusudana Krishna,
Govinda Govinda Gopala,
Govinda Govinda Gopala,
Sai Govinda Govinda Gopala,
Sai Govinda Govinda Gopala,
Radhe Govinda Gopala, Jaya Govinda Radhe Gopala.
Sairam, everyone. Hope everyone's well, and welcome to our Friday Study Circle session titled Liking Swami versus Loving Swami. Before we start, let us invite Swami to join the session and to shower all of us with his grace and divine blessings. Let us now start with 3 Ohms. Om. 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 So, Sairam, once again, everyone. Today's session is a really special session because we also have someone super special sharing with us today. I'm Preena and I'm your moderator for today. Before that, I'd like to apologize because I'm sure some of you do know that I'm pretty nervous. But look, Swami is right here in front of me and you, saying hi to all of us. Hence, he would definitely guide us through this session. I would now like to go through the house rules for today. Please mute your microphones. Turning video is optional. If you would like to on your video, please ensure your attire is appropriate. The chat box is also available, so you may type in your questions and your concerns along the session, and we would address it towards the end. If you would like to speak or elaborate your answers and experiences, please type fire.
Hello. So Sunil, I have to put mute or unmute.
Sorry.
Are you telling me?
Okay, sorry about that. If you would like to speak or elaborate your answers and experiences, please type Sairam in the chat box and I would unmute your microphone. Now, let me share with you our topic for today. Love, like, adore. Do they all mean the same? Can one love without liking? Is like actually a form of love? Or is love merely an extension of like? Confused, right? Yup, me too. Good thing we have none other than our very own Brother Haridas, all the way from Malaysia. Though he's currently residing in Malaysia, our Bro Hari is no stranger to the Jakarta Center. Bro Hari was a Sai follower since birth. He has held positions and served center, state, national, and zonal levels. also a Center Youth Coordinator, National Deputy Youth of Malaysia, and Zone 4 Cultural Coordinator. He has always worked with young adults instilling spiritual enrichment amongst youth. He's currently serving as a center spiritual coordinator. So without further ado, let us welcome Bro Haridas.
Om Shri Sairam.
Sairam, bro.
Thank you
How
so
are
much.
you?
I'm good. Thank you so much, Sister Prerna. How are you?
I'm good, bro. First of all, I'd like to thank you for giving us your time despite your tight schedule. And I'm sure everyone here is so excited and they just can't wait any longer for the session to begin. So, bro, it's all yours.
Allow me to start with a short prayer.
Yeah, sure.
Dhyanamoolam Gururmurti Pujamoolam Gururpadam Mantramoolam Guruvakyam Mokshamoolam Guru Kripa Anyata Sharanam Nasti Tvameva Sharanam Mama Tasmat Karunya Bhavena Raksha Raksha Saishwara Om Saishwararpanamastu. Dear Swami, I'm nothing but just a pure instrument and a vessel, sharing your stories, your experiences, and for everyone. So please guide us through this whole discussion and let us fill this discussion with what you want us to take back home. Saira. Dear brothers and sisters, a big Sairam to all of you, and it's nice to see a lot of you here online. We love you, Swami. We say this all the time. We love you, I adore you, Swami, with all my heart. We have uttered these words, uncountable times to Bhagavan. But today we will discuss what exactly we mean by the term loving Bhagavan. Is it just loving his physical form? Is it following his messages? Or does it have to do with living his messages? So this is what we mean, by loving Bhagavan versus liking Bhagavan. I would like to start my discussion today, for example, with my own example. See, every day I do whatever Swami wants me to do, buy the textbook sometimes, yeah. I wake up in the morning, I chant his name, I do puja, I do worship, I sing bhajans, I go do seva and everything that we all do as Sai devotees. By doing all this, do I really love Bhagavan? So this is what we are going to talk about today. It is important to deliberate on this because there are many times we find this kind of a confusion where, people say that I do what Swami says, Is there something more that is expected of me? Yeah. Does it mean that I have to literally live his message throughout my life? So why don't we, in short, let's aim to find out the meaning of these words, we love you, Swami. Dear brothers and sisters, I would like to start with this discussion with a very powerful and interesting experience and a very personal one to me too. Yeah, that has happened with Swami and his students in Trai Vrindavan during the Trai sessions. Bhagavan was sitting in his jhula. Typically in Vrindavan during the evening sessions after the bhajan, he calls all his students and the faculty members into Trai, and that's the exact swing that is there. Yeah, and then he sits there and he talks about material things, he talks about spiritual knowledges, he makes jokes, and during one of those sessions, in his typical style, Swami was just swinging in his jhula, and then he said, "So boys, do you love me?" In response, there was a thunderous chorus, yes, Swami, we love you so much, And Bhagwan's reaction was, however, very, very, very different, yeah. He nodded in disapproval, actually, and he said, "No, my boys don't love me. My boys only like me." See, very powerful, huh? He said, "No, my boys don't love me. My boys only like me." Everybody wanted to know what's the difference between loving and liking. And then Swami went on to explain very beautifully. As usual, Swami explains his powerful Vedantic messages through simple, beautiful stories. So he said, you have a dog at home, and all along you pet the animal, you caress it, you give it a bath, you want to play with it, you feed it, and etc. But do you really follow the dog through every moment of its life? Yeah? Wherever the dog runs, do you run behind it? No, you don't, Swami said. Then how can you say whether you like or you love the dog? Yeah? And then Swami said something that probably hurt everyone in the interview room. And it hurt me too, because when I read the story, it really, pricked my heart. And, he said, my boys like me too, like a dog, in the same manner. So, and then he said, he stopped, and then he broke the silence, because everybody's face just dropped. And then suddenly he broke the silence and he said, to love Swami is to follow Swami. So the question now is, what is the difference between liking Swami and loving Swami? Hence, the topic for today is loving Swami versus liking Swami.
Oh, wow, bro. So you just said to love Swami is to follow Swami. But aren't we following Swami already? Because, for instance, we are all Sai devotees and we follow him already. Most of us, especially us young adults, we go for different sevas. We join lots of study circles. We also sing bhajans. We also participate in various activities of the center. So aren't we already considered as Sai devotees? Though, of course, we do not follow 100%. We don't follow him 100%, but we at least try our best to follow his 9 codes of conduct. So isn't this already showing love for Swami when we are trying to follow his 9 codes of conduct?
It's a very, very valid question, Sister Prerna. Swami often would tell his students that when we are in his presence, we tend to follow all the discipline that he expects us to follow. But the moment, like the students, sometimes he was talking to the students and he said, when the boys return home, they start watching TV, going to movies, indulging in other pastimes. And we tend to forget about him. So let me just stress here, Swami didn't say that you should not do all that, but Swami says you forget me because you have been involved, or you get involved in so many of the pastimes. Yeah. So, and to be very honest, even I'm a victim of this particular routine, But as soon as I get home, I don't know why I feel like, I was like, I just, I've had a heavy day. I drop my laptop and you just want to go and sit on the couch and just laze, just unwind,
Yeah.
And so I think that something which differentiates liking from loving. Let's give this a thought. What is really true loving? So Swami says, it is to follow me and my teachings through every moment of your life. Not just when you are within my immediate vicinity. For example, so when he says immediate vicinity here, it's not only his physical presence, but center, Prashanti Nilayam, in that Sai fold, in that Sai environment, I think about him a lot. I see Swami's picture somewhere and said, okay, I think about him. Yeah. But Bhagwan has reiterated this many times, not just in my immediate vicinity, but every moment of your life.
Yeah, bro, I completely agree with you because I myself, I'm the victim of this. But, we, the Sai young adults, okay, we go for bhajans. We chant various mantras of Swami. We also wake up early at dawn. We go for Suprabhatam, we meditate, and of course, we remember Swami while doing it. So do you mean that, it's not just about rituals, but it is also about embodying the essence of rituals? Because, okay, for me, I personally am interested to, learn everything about Swami. I'm interested in Swami's teachings. But at times, I myself, I don't really understand why do we do these rituals. So what is your take on this, bro?
Yeah, so I can think of a few situations here that most of us would have experienced, as you said just now, for instance, you see all of us go for regular bhajans and seva and sai activities,
Yeah.
etc. And sometimes we We admire those who are so committed, doing seva, really giving the entire day or the week to the center, with a commitment. And sometimes we idolize those devotees and say, my God, if only I had, that kind of a commitment, But the question is, does our devotion to Swami extend beyond just that? Right? That is the question we need to ask. Yes, we are doing everything by the books. Even the 9 codes of conduct. Have we really understood the 9 codes of conduct? Or are we just following the 9 codes of conduct? The essence of it. See? So while one would like to be called the so-called ideal devotee, Swami would probably like to see a better manifestation of that traits that Swami often talks about. In other words, instead of limiting your love to the few aspects of devotion, it must translate into everything that we must do in our daily life. So in a week we go, okay, center, I go for my bhajans on Thursdays, I go for my seva 4 hours, or 6 hours, or I'll do my EHV classes, I do this. And so that are things that you like to do, right? And we think by doing that, Swami, it's actually loving Swami, But have we taken that one step further into translating everything that we do in our daily lives according to what Swami wants us to do?
Yeah.
So what we do is actually, seriously, we compartmentalize our love or like for Bhagwan, and then demonstrate our devotion now and then. You see, it's very important to find that, right? We all, say like, okay, this is my work, this is my college, this is my school, this is my sai work, this is my bhajan time, this is my seva. So, Swami says we tend to compartmentalize the whole thing. I remember during one of the darshan sessions, a devotee reserved a place in darshan line, and then he went to get water. And then when he returned, the mats were moved by an inch, and that guy actually gave a withering look to the person sitting next to them. But by that moment, Swami appeared for darshan, and the devotee had an instant flash of smile on his face, Yeah. So it was ironically, while the person is so sure that the smile expresses love for Swami, it does not bother him or her that they have just hurt a fellow devotee with that harsh look.
Yeah.
See,
But-
very powerful, huh?
Yeah, that's true, bro. It's very powerful. But don't you think the smile could also be interpreted as love for Swami? And as you said earlier, bro, we should all be with Swami and remember him all the time, in every step we take, in everything we do. Honestly, for me, okay, personally, it's easy for us all to, to be loving towards Swami because he is the embodiment of love. But on the other hand, many a times it gets really, really challenging to see Swami in others because of their attitude, because of what they do to us, because of pressure. A lot of people, they tend to hurt us. So how to actually see the God in them? I personally, okay, I've experienced the difficulty with the Sevadals in Kulwant Hall. So I understand that, they also have their love and dedication for Swami. So it gets really confusing. Like, what if I can't see the God in people? And does this mean that I don't love Swami, or what is it?
Yeah, so again, an excellent question, sister. So I think to answer this question, we will go deeper as we are going deeper into our conversation. This question is going to be answered. Yeah, because as I said just now, when you see what is Swami's teaching, help ever, hurt never. Simple. We hear this everywhere. We see it against the wall, all around Prashanti, all around our books, Swami's books. Help ever, hurt ever, love all, serve all. Now, whether or not the Sevadal in Prashanti is playing his part with love, but he does play his part with discipline because that's what expected out of him. To him, he is upholding the rule of Prashanti, which is Swami's discipline, to the best way he can. Now, on our side, as devotees who are sitting down and watching this whole thing, and how are we now translating what Swami's help ever, hurt never, through that story just now, in our own action just 2 minutes before Swami came off the darshan. See, so again, there's no one right answer, but it's constant introspection of being aware with Swami. And Swami, if Swami was in your thought, would you have got angry? A question could have come. I mean, I'm just throwing back. I mean, we're all not saints. Yeah, we all get into that, as you rightly said, we get stuck in that mud, that whirlpool of emotions and anger and happiness and whatnot. So, but how do we manage that? And that's what the discussion. Yeah, it'll be answered as we go along. Yeah. So there are many who say, Swami, we love you, and we are ready to sacrifice our personal time, family time, professional engagements, money, and whatnot in the name of commitment to Swami's mission. I'm sure we have all heard that. You know, we have heard. Sometimes I feel it's a guilt that we tend to put on even youngsters or anyone, saying that if you don't do Swami's work, with full commitment, then, it's life is not going to progress. I've heard that so many times, and it really created a lot of question in my heart. Is that true, Swami? So let us keep that there in your thought, and let us now move on. Yeah. So we must always, I think we must also remember that there has to be a balance. Finding this balance is so important. We talked about how we tend to compartmentalize Swami into one of the many things that we do in our daily life. And we must find that balance. There are certain commitments of an individual they may have towards their family and profession that must not be compromised. Swami said work is worship. Dharma is, and dropping your work and coming to center, when you have work to do, and then answering to the wrath of your boss the very next day, it's not something Swami would be happy with. Yeah. So in fact, Swami has often said that all work is his work. I'd like to very quickly just share an experience. I was once in Prashanthi for a video shoot. I was supposed to cover Swami's work of free medical college and medical school, education, medical and everything. And it was actually for one of the national media here. So I was assigned to go. And I took a week of leave, and I was very happy. I was like, wow, finally, get to interview Swami's, institute staff and the students, and to talk to public about Swami and his work. And so we went there and we did everything. And I got a message that I needed to cancel my flight. I needed to shorten my time in Perthi because I had to go for I used to work with, a lot with entertainment and fashion and celebrities and whatnot. So I had to be at the London Fashion Week. And because of that, I had to cut 2 days of my trip, which was so painful, in Perthi and go. So I was in this constant dilemma. I said, Swami, why have you do this? Why do you do this? Because every time in those kind of work, when I'm facing with the celebrities and late nights, and I get so conflicted, Yeah, I get very conflicted. I said, Swami, I do all the sadhana and everything. And when I go to work and when I'm involved in all this, the worldly kind of temptations that are put in front of me, but it's my work, it's my dharma, I get very conflicted, and it was really turmoil in me. So I went to Perthi, and while I was there, I was he's currently Professor Rangarajan is the principal of the Vrindavan University. So I told him, I said, sir, I'm doing this, and here I'm feeling really, in turmoil, and how should I handle this situation? And with so much of calmness, he just looked in my eyes and he said, even looking at the models and the celebrities is Swami's work. See Swami in them. And I was at that moment, I said, how do I actually do that? It's you are young, there's distraction and everything. And he said, look, whoever is coming to you as a distraction, look at Swami, see Swami in them. And then whatever distraction will just go away, So very powerful. I kind of carried that, it was very difficult to practice, but I kept constantly reminding myself of it, So because I compartmentalized Swami's work means sadhana, Swami's work center. So I told Swami, I said, Swami, I'm doing all the sadhana, and when I go and do my work, I feel all my sadhana has gone to waste. So it was and he said, don't think of it like that. If you think of like that, you're going to put yourself in more stress, because then you're not carrying me with you every time. So just to reiterate that, there was a young boy sharing his feelings with one of the institute's senior faculty members. He spoke about how his mother, was a Balvika's guru, and she was so immersed in the organizational activities that she had no time for him. Yeah, this is one of the counseling sessions they had. And so this is why Swami's work, if we have not learned to balance ourselves, then we have totally missed the point. All work is his work.
That's true, bro. But talking about balancing now, I'm sure many of us here, we've been caught up in situations where it's really hard to manage between our spiritual and professional life. And many at times we get confused, or, we come into a dilemma which to give preference to. For instance, I myself, I've been in a situation where I have an office deadline to submit. And on the other hand, I was also asked to help out with some of the, mandir or center related work. It was pretty overwhelming. It was very overwhelming, but it's really, really hard for me to say no when it comes to Swami's work. So I just can never say no, because as Swami also says, duty is God, work is worship. So again, isn't this considered as true love, or what actually is true love for God?
So now, as again, a very good point that we all go through again. Yeah. So we are slowly starting to understand first that liking God is something very limited.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's get the trail of thought. Yeah. We finished section 1, which is liking God. What really loving God means. Now, what does it mean to truly love God? The second section now, we are just going to go into that based on your question. Yeah. So we understand, liking means you're limiting.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're limiting and liking God in a very limited way, based on your own understanding, based on what you think it is that you want to love Swami. It's very selfish, very narrow-minded, and it does indicate an act of self-interest. On the other hand, loving God is when you love Him only for His sake. You just purely love Him for His sake. Love Him for loving sake and following His messages. That approach, if you take that approach, then that is selfless. It's unlimited. Then to answer back your question again, probably, I've practiced little of this in my life, because it cuts that turmoil of trying to say that feeling of guilt. Oh, I need to go and do the center. Swami, I love you, I want to do. But if it is going to affect our other activities in daily life, then it defeats the purpose. Then is it really love? What is the intention? You're telling Swami, I love you, so I'll drop my work today at 5:30. Even I had a deadline by 7:30. I'm coming to do this because I love you. Does it make sense? See, Swami, God has given us this faculty of discrimination, and that is another thing that we need to discriminate what is right and what is wrong, how to act at a particular time, and how not to act, the right and the wrong. So again, this whole journey of spirituality is actually helping us to sharpen that intellect, yeah, and to sharpen your intellect and to lead someone on the spiritual growth. Yeah. So now there's a very powerful story here that reminded, and there's I need to share this with all of you. Yeah. The story of the life of Buddha. Ananda, if you know Ananda, yeah, his cousin was one of his closest devotee. Eventually, he became one of the most enlightened one after the Buddha. Yeah. Ananda decided to spend all his time with Buddha. Yeah. But before taking initiation, he wanted to make sure that he was not treated at par with all the other disciples. And he wished to retain his status as the elder cousin the elder cousin brother of Buddha. So can you imagine? He didn't want to be associated with all the other monks, so he wanted that status. I am Buddha's cousin brother, so I will, maintain that status. So he went to Buddha one day and he said, being my younger brother, it is your duty, Buddha, to obey me, because he was elder. Yeah. And then I was able, sorry for this. I'm just having a bit of distraction coming in. Yeah. Being my younger brother, it is your duty, Buddha, to obey me. After my initiation, you will become my master and I your disciple. I will not be able to ask, I will not be able to ask or command anything. So before I receive the initiation, allow me to ask 3 things from you. So Buddha said, as you please, Ananda, go ahead. What do you want? So Ananda uttered his 3 wishes. The first wish, I should always be with you. You should never talk to anyone in secret, and you should never send me away in any gatherings or even if you are alone. And Buddha just gave a smirk on his face and he thought to himself, he's exerting his copyright on me. Buddha thought to himself and he smiled. Ananda's second wish was, whenever I would like to meet someone at any time of the day and night, you shall not refuse. Then Buddha again gave a smile to him and he said, now basically he wants me to stay in a cage. Yeah. And then his third wish was, you and I shall sleep in the same room. I should always be with you constantly like a shadow. So after articulating these 3 wishes, he said, Buddha, do not forget these 3 wishes of mine. I am now ready to be initiated. Yeah?
Interesting, bro. Would you actually call Ananda's attitude as love for Buddha?
I don't think that is love. Yeah, there is a lot more to the story. Yeah, so Buddha says, fine, please, let's get initiated. So Ananda became his disciple, and he was virtually the shadow of Buddha. Yeah, he was always by his side. Many years later, when it was time for Buddha to depart his mortal coil, he said, by dusk I shall be gone. Call all the monks. I want to address you one last time. As the Buddha had wished, about 1,000 enlightened monks stood around Buddha, calm and composed. No one cried, no one showed any visible of grief apart from Ananda. Ananda was in deep anguish. He was inconsolable, and the other monks did not know how to pacify him. So out of mercy, Buddha looked at Ananda and smiled. He asked Ananda, why do you cry? I've done everything you wanted me to do. I fulfilled all your wishes during this entire time that you have been with me. And Buddha said this, Ananda cried. He dropped and he cried even more. And he said, Buddha, I don't know what to do with my life now. I breathe the same air that you breathe. Yeah, I did everything that you did, but I have not attained enlightenment. Now I feel my life is hopeless. Yeah, I don't know how to live without you. And then again, Buddha smiled. Buddha said, what can I do, Ananda? I did everything that you wanted me to do. I always knew that if I fulfill your wishes, I will only be hindering your spiritual progress. But you were not willing to forget that I was your younger brother. He held on to that attachment. You wanted to retain all those privileges. Your surrender was conditional. This was Buddha's words. Buddha went on to say a powerful word that, that really pricked his heart like a sword. Perhaps, Buddha said, my death shall make your love unconditional. So powerful. And then Buddha left his mortal coil, and all the enlightened monks, congregated in close proximity. Only Ananda was not there. He was crying. He was an emotional wreck. He was crying the whole night and he didn't sleep. And suddenly, at the wake of dawn, he woke up. Yeah, he was engulfed with a deep sense of peace. Over time, his process of self-realization deepened. So someone who went to be enlightened. The first was the last to get enlightened among all his Buddha's monks. Yeah. So if you look at Ananda's example, he was a shadow of Buddha during his lifetime. I would say he actually looked like the Buddha because he was in his shadow all the time. Yeah. It was only after Buddha left his mortal coil that Ananda began to love him. Yeah. It's only after that realization happened, Ananda began to love him. If only Ananda had loved Buddha when he was with him during his physical form, imagine the wealth of spiritual development he would have gained, for himself. He was living and drinking the fountain, the nectar, right next to him, but he couldn't taste it. So again, this punchline Swami gives: loving God is when you love him for his sake. You follow his messages. The approach is selfless and unlimited.
Wow, bro. This is really an insightful example and very, very thought-provoking indeed. But bro, I was very drawn to the words selfless and limited.
Yeah.
This is again something I have faced personally. I might not be following Swami's messages or teachings all the way, but I do know for a fact that in everything I do, my thoughts are always dedicated to him. A lot of my duty at the center is, to create materials, whether it's, posters, videos, content, basically related to the media. We often get caught up with protocols. Maybe sometimes, some messages are not sent clearly, or, Swami's picture is maybe blurred, or, sometimes it's even placed not in the right position. But often, I also realize when I'm doing it wholeheartedly, a lot of people, they tend to appreciate and they actually connect it even more despite me going against these protocols. So, I don't know, do you think, we tend to forget the spirit behind the actions because we are so caught up with what we do, with the work we do, or even, caught up with these protocols?
Yeah, beautiful, sister. I mean, it's actually, Swami, we need to start thinking, as we started off, we said, beyond that scope of liking. If you're going to like doing something, then you are going to do it mechanically, right? If that intention is only to please Swami, not even to get praises.
Yeah.
If there's 5 people coming to the center and I'm the first one there, I will do what I need to do because Swami is coming to the center at 7:45 for bhajans.
Yeah.
So in my own little capacity, Swami is coming at 7:45. Let me do whatever in my capacity. I may not know how to do the sound system. I may not know to do anything, but I try to find ways to be of help because our Swami is coming at 7:45. So you make yourself available. Now, touching a point of protocol. Now, we are surrounded with protocols and rules, regulations, because there needs to be discipline, right? But we get caught sometimes, and that is something even in Palathi, we see it, even in our Sai work, in our center, we see it. But now, going back to the intention again, who are you doing it for? Are you doing it for the protocol committee? Are we doing it for the committee members? Yes, the committee members have given an instruction. Now, all I'm saying is, I'm not giving you a firm answer. I'm just saying these are trigger thoughts that I'm putting forth. Yeah? Start thinking about it, because now when a chairman, I've been put in this situation. If a chairman or the national leader comes up to you and says something that you need to do this in a particular way, and you have already got your frame, you're feeling so much, Swami, this is what it should be. Swami, I'm getting the feel, the bhava, and all those kind of things, But I think at that point, as an elder, see again there, Swami's respect elders is so important. And And they are in a position where they are is because Swami has willed them to be there. And we are in a position where we are because Swami has willed us to be there. So now, analyzing this, I said again, the intellect has to come in and try to play that part of, now, who am I doing this for? Now, if the elder has come, am I seeing Swami in him? Can I see Swami in him even if I don't like the decision or the request that is coming from that person? Yeah, many a times in Parthi, we don't like the protocols in Parthi. Let's be honest about it. Yeah, we get like, why is this, why is that, why is this, why is that? There's so much protocol. This is Swami's place. It should be love. It should be love. It should be love, But there is structure. There's this, he's put all this in place. So every person that sits in Parthi on the darshan line or ever enter Ganesha's gate will be put to test with so many things, because introspection has to take place, and that is the place for introspection. Once you're filled with Swami's energy in Parthi, the biggest challenge is to come back to your own homes in your own countries and to feel and sustain and practice that love that Swami has put into you. So I think actually we put up this story in Puttaparthi, and it was when Swami left his physical form, everybody was feeling very heavy and attached to his physical form, and it was a very apt message at that time, is to forget the physical form and focus on the real Sai, the Sai's message. That is what we need to take on, So coming back to Ananda totally missed the point. In fact, most of us get into that ritualistic way of life, and we tend to get to the spirit behind our actions. Yeah, that's as you mentioned just now. It is important to be conscious about where our mind is at the time when we are engaged in action. If not, then you can sit down and we can have full sadhana, full bhajans. It's just going to go to waste. Yeah. So this reminds me of another story. I'm sharing all these stories. This is all from Swami's Chinnakatha, and he's beautifully explained it. And so it's not my words, not my story. The Swami story. I'm just connecting it back. There was a Brahmin who lived opposite a prostitute's house. Yeah, this is also from Buddha's lifetime. So one day, Buddha went to visit the village, and this Brahmin was so confident. Yeah, he was so confident that Buddha is going to be very impressed with his piety, and because of his prayers and the very high lineage that he has come from, Buddha is definitely going to come to my house. But when Buddha came, he straight away, to his dismay, went into the house of the prostitute and gave a blessing. Yeah, so the Brahmin's ego was totally hurt. He was so furious with Buddha. And when Buddha came to his house, so instead of greeting Buddha, he was like, he demanded an answer to Buddha. Why did you go to the prostitute's house? So Buddha simply smiled, and he said in his most compassionate way, Buddha said, the prostitute is what she is because of some inevitable circumstances of her life. But in spite of your noble lineage and your piety from birth, you're always curious and interested about who is coming and going into the prostitute's house. What a tragedy, so Buddha said, what a tragedy that your mind was not on God, whereas she had more devotion on God than you. This story now tells us that it's important to not only love. True love is not alone important. We have to understand and live the spirit of the Master's words. So then it was, so just to reiterate, I'll share you another story also. Yeah, it was in the morning. I think two monks were trying to cross the river, walk by the river, and they saw a lady who was suffering in a state of confusion. She was asking for help. Yeah, so to cross the river, and one of them immediately, one of the monks, he ran and immediately carried the woman in his arms, and he crossed the river. Yeah, and he put her on the other side of the bank. The two monks then continued their journey towards the other side to their destination, and it was almost evening. Throughout the journey, the monk looked very troubled. This is the other monk who didn't help the lady. Wondering if he was suffering from some kind of internal problem, the other monk who helped the woman asked him, is there anything wrong with you? And then the other monk replied, he said, what you did in the morning was not right. How could you, a celibate, a brahmachari, touch a young lady and carry her across the river. Then the monk smiled, and said, my dear brother, she was a person in need. That's all I knew. I didn't see anything differently. It has been 12 hours since I've already carried the woman and crossed through the other side of the bank, but you are carrying this thought with you for 12 hours, this troubled thought with you for 12 hours now. So the story tells us that living the spirit of the Master's word, which is it's very much more important than taking the Master's word in a literal sense. So sometimes we sit in front of Bhagavan, we're in the darshan line and we sit in front of Swami during darshan. We're so lost in his beauty. Yeah, we're so lost in his beauty and grace, and sometimes we miss absorbing the messages that he was sharing with us. Yeah, I think many a times it has happened to us, right? You sit down there and say, oh my God, look at Swami, look at that smile, look at everything. And here he's giving a discourse, and sometimes, and there's subtle things that he does, and we sometimes just miss that point. Yeah. And in fact, there's another very interesting story that Swami used to narrate. There was a gentleman who gave up everything in life and went to the Himalayas, and he started rigorous penance, yeah, which included some 16, 17 hours of meditation on the rock. Several months later, he came back to take his usual spot, one day, which is that rock. And then he saw someone else sitting on his rock. Absolutely shocked, he went up to the person and he said, I think you're sitting on the wrong place. Yeah, this is my rock. I have been sitting here for days and we have been together. In fact, months together doing penance. So the other person looked at him and said, there are so many rocks all over the place. You're free to go and sit in any rock and meditate. The yogi went completely berserk. He lost his mind, And brother and sister, this is a so-called detached yogi who just got angry just like that. Yeah, he gave up his family, belongings, city, and all that, and he went to Himalayas. Sadly, though, he got hold of a rock and grew attached to the rock. I guess, in a sense, we are all in the same. I think we are all in the same predicament. We lose ourselves in the trees, in the bargain, losing the sight of the entire beauty of the forest. It's like the earlier story, Ananda was next to Buddha. Buddha was that fountain of wisdom. He was there, but he lost sight of what he wanted. And instead of, getting the nectar and tasting the sweetness of Buddha.
I completely agree with you, bro. And I think it is becoming quite clear now, that in the name of love, we look for something with a selfish motive. We are far more interested in our own personal happiness and joy. At times we get so caught up with the whole doing opposed to being. And Swami himself, he says, be, do, see, tell. But we tend to forget the rest because we are so indulged in doing, whereas Swami himself, he doesn't really ask us to do anything for him. We are the one who keep on running. We go back to him, it's actually just for our own happiness. So what is your take on this, bro?
So I think it's quite straightforward. I think it's if you love somebody,
yeah,
you must actually make the person happy. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Rather than looking for your own happiness.
That's true.
Yeah, because I think we are all on the same boat. We get caught up because emotions, the mind plays that trick, that because it's my life, it's my problems, it's my pain, it's my everything, and we tend to get caught up in that emotion, and we go to God. God, heal me, God. I cannot function, and I can't function. I need a promotion. I need to get a child. I need to get this, and then God will give you everything because, He loves you. He loves you unlimitedly. But here we are going to Him for in what intention? So if you love, it's plainly said, if you like your partner, a girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife, you would. To own question, and your needs are not put in the front, is to make your partner happy. In the beginning of your dating, it's like, what do you want? What do you want? I'll go and get it. If it's a run to the moon, I'll go and get it for you. So at that moment, you love so much, you will do anything, putting your wants and needs aside, only to make the loved one happy. Yeah. As Swami always says, actually there's another story to this, beautifully again, and which is very powerful to this point. This took place just before Swami left his physical form, and so there was a devotee traveling with Bhagwan in the car, and then he thought it would be a good opportunity to speak to Baba and and voice out his concerns about Swami's health. So he prayed to Bhagwan, Swami, please cure yourself. In response, in the car, Swami said instantly, why? I'm fine. Yeah, but the devotee did not give up. He kept insisting, no, Swami, we cannot see you like this. It pains us to see you like this. Please cure yourself. To that Swami said, Bangaru, I am happy. I am fine. I have no pain. Again, the devotee went on, no, Swami, but we are not happy because we don't feel happy looking at you in this state. See, again, another very powerful punchline again. He said, no, Swami. Swami said, I'm happy. But he said, we are not happy because we don't feel happy looking at you like this. Then Bhagwan smiled and said, oh, so for your happiness, you want me to cure myself. So the message that he gave us was so loud. I know this message that Swami is telling us is very loud and clear, that we are actually not concerned about Bhagwan's happiness, but in the name of love, we are more concerned about our own state of joy at the sight of Swami. We are stuck in that phase of what is it in for me?
Yeah. Wow. That's really.
I mean, let me just be very honest.
Yeah.
We all, even including me, we all get stuck with this kind of situation. I'm sure many of us do get stuck in the situation. It's always so. The point here is actually not to say that you don't love Bhagwan or you love Bhagwan. The point here is to analyze the thought that is coming. Where is it coming from? And if I really love somebody, what will I do for that person? Yeah. So the first section we started is understanding what true love, loving Bhagwan is. Then the second section started off with what is that true love, and then finally we went into understanding the essence of the Master's words, which is very important. Yeah. So now we will go into the third section, and so.
Bro, I understand what you're trying to say, but we love Swami so much that I think that is why we always want to be with him constantly. So is that not true love? And I don't know if that is so, where then is the question of love?
So I mean, it cannot be more evident that that the words "I love Bhagavan" would require the devotee to follow his teachings in every sense, because that is what ultimately makes Swami happy. It is sometimes not the regular things that you do. It is going behind the essence of what he wants us to do and following his teachings by the needle. And this brings us to our next section. When we are saying we are following Bhagwan's teaching, or loving Bhagwan is following his teachings, what do we actually mean by that? Let's look at the first part of the question. Following Bhagwan's teachings, what does that mean? One can actually argue saying, fine, I met him at bhajans, I went for my seva, I did that, I worship him every day, and do my arati and puja all the time. Is that not following his teachings? There was another beautiful incident that was narrated by Swami's ex-student related to the Paduka Puja. The Paduka, Swami's sandals. So in those days, people used to get, they used to have these Padukas and place it in Swami's feet, and they used to do elaborate prayer and puja for Swami to bless the Paduka, and it's a Guru Puja basically. Yeah? It was conducted every year way back. So this, I think, happened in 1998 or 1998, 99, I think. Yeah. And as you would, and for some of those of you who know, this ceremony would require typically to have a couple performing the prayers for Swami's silver sandals. So on the conclusion of the puja, Swami came, and called all the research scholars, for an interview. And after deliberating on a lot of Vedantic things, Swami asked, so what is Paduka Puja? And one of the senior research scholars explained the concept of the associated rituals to Swami. To that, Swami said, no, that is not Paduka Puja. And Swami very beautifully said, this is the punchline that really, gives us the message of what he wants us to do. He said, walking in the steps of the master is the real Paduka Puja, which is all I want you to do. Taking cue from these words from Swami, loving Swami is about following his footsteps. It's really powerful. At the same time, during the Paduka Puja, Swami also narrated to all the scholars there about Aushadam and Patyam. Yeah, two things Swami said in Sanskrit, Aushadam and Patyam. Where Aushadam means medicine and Patyam means diet. When a patient goes to a doctor, it's always these two things that he prescribes to make the diseased healthy. While he needs to take the medicine, he must also follow a controlled diet. So Bhagwan says, medicine is like loving Swami, but the diet is about following his teachings. Then he goes on to say, if you, the patient, who is suffering from this ailment of samsara, which is the worldly existence, needs to get healthy, then you must do two things, Swami said. One, love Bhagwan. Two, follow his teachings. In other words, imbibe Aushadam, which is the medicine, and Patyam, which is the diet. This is our divine doctor's prescription to us. And if I may add, brothers and sisters, there's a powerful incident in the Ramayana. This is my personal favorite, a powerful story, as powerful as the first story that we talked about, Swami on the Jula. Lord Rama himself defines what true love for God really means. So we all know the episode where Lord Rama leaves for the forest to serve his exile, and Bharata pleads him to return and take back the kingdom of Ayodhya. Bharata says, the king actually asked you to go, Bharata told Rama basically, the king actually asked you to go, the king that actually asked you to go away, my dear brother, is no longer there. Why don't you come back and take back the kingdom? Lord Sri Rama had a great lesson to teach in this whole experience to Bharata and everyone who was there. But he did it not by himself. He did it through King Janaka. This is Sita's father. Yeah. During this whole argument that went on between Rama and Bharata, King Janaka played the role of a judge. When it was time to pass the verdict, King Janaka said, when there is a conflict between dharma and prema, where Bharata represents prema and Rama represents dharma. So, whenever there is a conflict between dharma and prema, prema wins over dharma. Yeah? If you got that part, yeah? Whenever there's a conflict between dharma and prema, prema wins over dharma. Yeah? So now, the entire kingdom of Ayodhya was so happy. It's like the people of Ayodhya was erupting with joy. It's like, oh, okay, Janaka has passed the verdict and Rama is going to come back and Bharata has won his argument. But as usual, Rama, like Swami, in his cheeky way, he smiled and then he said, but love too has its own dharma, Rama said. Even love has its own dharma. But what is the dharma of love? And what is the? So when he went to explain this, the dharma of love, he said the dharma of love is that you need to ask your beloved Lord what and where lies his happiness, and implicitly follow those words. It is not about imposing on him what brings you joy and happiness. Powerful, huh? Let me just repeat that again. Yeah. The dharma of love is that you need to ask your beloved Lord in what and where lies his happiness, and implicitly follow those words. It is not about imposing on him what brings you joy and happiness. Hearing this, Bharata immediately submitted to Rama, and after having realized what true love means, he accepted the kingdom of Ayodhya on behalf of Rama. And because, and see, this is the most important part, because in that lay the joy and happiness of Sri Rama. It was not Bharata's want anymore. He happily went back, took the Padukas, and he put it on the throne, and he ruled the kingdom, because that is what my Lord wanted. I wanted him to come back. My father has passed away, so come back and enjoy, and be with us. But that is what, and I'm telling you, Bharata actually became like Rama. He was looking like Rama at one point. People couldn't see the difference between him and Rama. That how much that Padukas which the Rama's sandals that he ruled with embodied him into Rama himself. So the principle of love is we need to ask our beloved Lord in what and where lies his happiness and follow his words. It's not about imposing on him what brings joy and happiness to us.
Wow. That's really, really beautiful, bro. And I think this communicates the message very, very clearly, because we ourselves, we tend to neglect our parents. And many a times we take them for granted. We do not even prioritize their happiness. Whereas they always do, they prioritize us, their children. And, Swami himself, he has never asked us outright, like, I want you to do this, I want you to do that. Instead, he has just told us that, these are my teachings. So it's really on us whether we want to follow him or not. In fact, we are the ones who keep on, running back to him. And bro, this actually reminded me of a story which I don't really have any reference to. But I think it was when Swami was materializing something, and where people were instead engrossed on the material. They were focused on the creation, but they were not really focused on the hands that created it.
Yeah, it's basically yeah, you get caught up in the creation and not the creator.
So we tend to forget, we are more focused on the joy we get rather than the people who actually bring out these joy.
Amazing, yeah. Indeed, really, absolutely true, sister. The subtle and right understanding of such concepts is very, very, very important. Even before we take our first step to sadhana, when we say, because I think we to be very honest, let's give it a thought. Just close your eyes and touch your heart and say, Swami, we love you, we love you, we love you, we love you every minute, every day. We say we love you, but that essence of that love, where is it coming from? Where is that when you say I love you is coming from? So I think taking the first step, it's said that taking the first step, it is the essence of all knowledge and right understanding. Unless and until we make sincere efforts to put this into practice, systematic practice, that is sadhana. So I'm going to, cover that in the second session, because I wanted to take a bit of time to cover this in a shorter session. I mean, just break it into two sections, because it needs a lot of questions and answers and deliberation. So I've broken this session into two, and this is the first part. We are at the end of this session, and we will discuss how is it to take that first step. Because you see, we established a fact that the first thing is liking Swami was, what is it loving Swami? What is it to truly love Swami? Which means we have to understand the spirit of the Master's words. In understanding the spirits of the Master's word comes in what makes the Master happy. Have we understood that? You know, where does the master's happiness lie? You know, so it is very, very, very important if you ask in that way. Because Swami, see, end of the day, we are going to go to Swami and Swami is going to say, you know, Swami, I want this, I'll give you. Swami love. Swami is that unlimited love.
Yeah.
Who's going to love you anyway. He's going to give you. He is that eternal witness that is loving you, bad, good, whatever the circumstances is, right? It is when it's our duty now to start thinking, Swami, what is it that you want? You know, is it just seva? Is it just seva? Is it just the bhajans? Is it, you know? But again, all that said, we are all on the same journey to sadhana. We are doing what we can in that small limited world of ours, which we think we are loving Swami. But I think to understand his words, you know, that is this whole lifetime of sadhana. It's not today, not tomorrow. You know, it is that the state of being with Swami is what we need to, I think, work towards, including myself.
Thank you so much, bro. It was really beautiful, whatever you said. And I think now we can go to the question and answer segment. I've received one question already, actually, so I would like to read it to you. We all have different understanding of Swami's teaching. Hence, we follow it differently. Is this okay? How do we make sure that we are following his teachings in a true sense and not that when it's convenient to us?
Yes. So I thank you for the question. It's a great question. And as I concluded the talk just now, we are all doing our own sadhanas, right? As I said, in our little space that we know. And we are not scholars, we are not enlightened yet, but we are all moving towards that direction. And I think in a Sai organization, we have multitude of different type of people at different stages of spiritual evolution. And that's why we're all there. That's why we're all here. That's why we're all in this talk, because we are all evolving together, right? Swami has 85 years, Swami has come, this master of ours have come, and he has given the Vahinis, he has given discourses, he has, you know, really inspired us to materializations. He has given us so many things in these 85 years. Now, after these 85 years, we are slowly still picking everything that he has said, finding the right path to balance our life, to find that right teaching again. So, to answer your question, there is no one particular way of doing this. Every one of us are doing what we can in our own understanding. But that said, as we shared today, it is very, very important to assimilate and ask Swami, help me understand your message. Sometimes, because Swami's message means sometimes so many things to so many different people. So that humility and love, Swami, if you want me to practice your words, if you want me to understand your teachings, if you want me to walk on your footsteps, please help me to love you too. Let me see things in your love, in your light, in your sight, so that I can make the right decisions and I know that I'm on the right path with you guiding me. See, that intention of humility, going back to Swami and saying, Swami, I'm following the 9 codes of conduct. Yeah, I'm following the 9 codes of conduct, but what is happening? It's not making any impact. It needs to transform.
Yeah.
That's why in one of the stories it said, you say love you, love you, love you. I'm following Swami's teachings, but is it manifesting in some way or another? So that is where the journey comes back to our side again. And you see, okay, so it's a sadhana. The sadhana does not only mean meditating and doing bhajans and all that. The sadhana is that inner reflection that needs to take place when we read something of the Master's words. That is sadhana. Now, how am I to take these words? This is Swami's words. Now I'm dissecting the Swami's words. How is it applying to me? Swami, how can I now practice these words of yours? Because I really love you. I really want to follow your footsteps. So I want to know how to do it. You know, I want to love you. Please help me. See, even that Swami's grace and love will be there, because you are taking that one step, and sadhana is that first step, which we'll cover in our next session. So to the person who, devotee who asked the question, don't feel bad that you are on the wrong path of spirituality. You know, as long as you keep questioning this you know, the doubts come, which is good. We should have doubts. Swami, one of the books of his Vahini is called Sandeha Vahini. The one Swami has come to remove your doubts. That's the job of a guru, you know. So just let's don't feel bad about it, but keep introspecting. Now the question that was asked, am I following the right path? That is the question you should ask, because that will go deeper and deeper. And I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, Swami must only, but Swami is your only guide. Swami must be your only guide. And I'm telling you, when you ask Swami, he will send through messages through many people that you come across, and that's him answering you. But again, you need to be aware. You need to be aware that, wow, I just asked this question, Swami's answering it like that, you know, that kind of a thing. So it's all back to our mental state and how we process and introspect.
So beautifully answered, bro. We actually have another question.
Yeah.
When we do something, especially office bearers, and it's our dharma to do it, but we know we are not happy doing it. And then sometimes we are also told that Swami will be happy if we do it. So it is really, really conflicting. What is your take on this, bro?
A very interesting question. I'll try to ask Swami to answer this, because again, dharma or right conduct is a very, there's no gray area in right conduct, right? Example, now at work, I've been faced with the situation many a times where I've been asked to give a tender and do sales, and you know that it is not the right decision that's going to come out from that dealing. Yeah, there may be adharmic principles in that whole dealing. Now your boss, whom you can associate that to an office bearer, would have come in. I mean, I'm not telling office bearers will say something adharmic. I'm just giving an analogy actually. And if your boss comes and says something to you, yeah, and you are conflicted with that statement, you know, that is something. Then again, dharma plays a role. You are an office bearer, you are an employee of the company, and the boss has asked you to do something. Now again, two things. This is how Swami is guided to manage. One is, look at the situation and see whether is it really conflicting with the dharma within you. But for you to do that, you must be really connected to your inner self. You must be connected to Swami. Go back to Swami and ask, Swami, this is the situation. There is, my conscience is pricking. I don't feel it's right, but it's an instruction that has come down. Now, what should I do with this? Yeah. So on my office side, what I did was, there was totally a conflict of dharma. Now, it could have put my job into jeopardy because I didn't want to do it. But I did go up to my boss and I told, I'm sorry, I feel very conflicted with this proposal and this dealing, and I can't be part of it because it will not be me and I can't do it. You know, and I prayed to Swami before that, and the boss just turned around and looked at me, and she suddenly had this smile in her face. He said, Hari, so what's the big deal? You should just come and talk to me. I didn't see this point of yours. You see, you know, and because before I went there, I said, Swami, I'm not going to do this. You must guide me. You must really guide me. And you know, the whole situation just changed. And she said, beautiful, don't worry. You give me your insights now, and I will do what is required. You know, So now again, putting that principle of that into the organization, we don't like making a lot of decisions, but again, where is the intention of the decision coming from? We spoke about that. Where is that intention coming from, and what is it? How is it going to affect? These are considerations that we need to make. And you, again, I have to say, you can only get through this only with Swami as your guiding, like the guiding force, that compass. If not, that's why that needs to be strengthened a lot, you know. And you are going to be faced, we are all going to be faced with situation in center, in work, in college, everywhere. We're going to be faced with all this. That's why this whole session is about, you know, to build that compass and to tighten that connection and love, so that you know. You see, when I remember one of the students actually said this: when you're so connected with Swami, when you have that, the love in you is so strong, and you're doing everything what he wants you to do, he will channel, and immediately he I'm telling you, there's no other way. He has to come and give you a solution. He has to come and save you. He'll take long, you've got to be patient sometimes, he may not come, but his dharma is to come and correct us, because we love him. We claim we love him, we want to love him. Yeah? So his dharma is to come and guide us.
Very, very well said, bro. I agree with you. You know, whatever it is, he would take time, but he would never fail us.
He's going to test.
Yeah.
You know, there's a saying in the Tamil it's a Tamil prose. The king will punish you. He will immediately punish you for your mistakes, but God will wait and make the decision of whatever needs to be done. You know, so that's where sadhana has to come in and play the whole role of tolerance and perseverance and that whole. It's a journey, it's just a journey.
Yeah, I agree. So, do we have any more questions, brothers and sisters? You can, you know, feel free to type in your questions in the chat box.
I just would like to say very quickly that there is no right and wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. Swami, on a physical level, you can see him getting angry, he's happy, discipline is very important for him, you know. On a physical level, that has to be done, like a mother, like a father, like a parent guiding your child. Imagine the parents say, I love you. Anything you do is acceptable. What's going to happen? So Swami, on that physical level, as our divine parent, has to have that certain principle, certain discipline, in order to structure and regulate. If not, everything is in chaos. But our duty also is to go beyond that structure, to go beyond that the limited scope of understanding Swami, into understanding what Swami really is. That is our journey, our objective of this whole self-transformation.
Okay, bro, we have another question actually. Do we ever need to qualify for Swami's love? Some of us might at times feel like we are undeserving or continue to make mistakes or bad choices.
Yeah, so I'm totally not in a position to say whether we are, even I, for a matter of fact, sometimes don't deserve Swami's love. Yeah, I'm being just very honest, you know. So, but to that question, am I deserving Swami's love? The question, see, you already asked the question already. That itself is the first step to start reflecting whether my actions, because you see, end of the day, if we are going to ask that question, I'm feeling guilty, I don't feel I deserve, I'm not fit to be a Swami's devotee, I don't want to come to the center, I feel very shy because I'm doing this. If you really love Swami, if we have understood him, his true words, the question will be different.
Yeah.
The question will be, Swami, I am like this. This is me with open heart. I've done mistakes, you know. I want to be worthy of you. I want to love you. Again, help me, Swami. Brothers and sisters, I cannot reiterate, just at least based on my own experience, the intention when you really want to change, if you put that out to the universe will come back to you with an answer and a guide. And that is what Swami is. Because brothers and sisters, Swami is that Sakshi. Sakshi means eternal, it's a witness. Yeah, he is constantly a witness. He's not that physical Swami that, you must do this, discipline, He is that Swami within you, and every one of us have that Swami in us, that light. And that light is that love, that power of love within us. We just need to shed that darkness around that light for that light to emerge. That because he's constantly watching, whether you're a devotee, whether you're not, whether you're following teachings, whether you're not following teachings, he is witnessing everything, whether right or whether wrong. Now, our duty is, how are we going to tap to that witness who's waiting for us? He's waiting. He's just waiting. He's not going to angry. We're not going to get angry if you're not going to do your sadhana. And seriously, he's beyond that. But the sadhana is put into place. Spiritual disciplines are put into place so that if we feel we want to be worthy enough, that is the first step to loving Swami. You must make an effort. Without that effort, you say, Swami, I love you. I don't fit. I'm not fit to come to the center. I'm not worthy of you. And you just keep quiet about it. What are we doing about it? Right? So the biggest thing for spirituality is guilt. That's the biggest downfall for spirituality, is putting guilt on someone else and putting guilt on yourself. We cannot do that. We should not do that. Yeah. So when you have guilt, we cannot see. Guilt is another emotion that is very overpowering and leads to depression, and it goes on and on and on. Right? It will hinder. So just open up, and Swami has to guide us.
So beautiful, bro. I hope, bro Vignesh, I hope he answered your question. Yeah. So I don't think we have any more questions. Okay.
So so the part 2, we will cover the next step from here.
Yeah, in the next.
How we start the journey.
Right. With that, we have come to the end of our session. And once again, thank you so much, Bro Hari, for spending your Friday night with us. Thank you for being ever patient and ever ready to answer all these questions. And again, we look forward to hosting you soon in our second segment, and of course, in person very, very soon. Before we close, there are several announcements. Firstly, we have an activity book, which was already offered to Swami during Guru Purnima, and we would be launching this book on Sunday in Keluarga Besar Young Adults Group. Also, we will be having bhajans, our weekly Sunday bhajans, and the link would be shared in the group soon. So, yeah, let us now close the session with 1 Om and 3 Shantis. Once again, thank you so much, Bro Hari. We look forward to hosting you very, very soon again.
Most importantly, you must thank Swami
for
having this session and using all of us as instruments to give his messages. Nothing is mine, it's all his. So the glory only goes back to him. So I thank him for this beautiful and wonderful opportunity to be able to just be that vessel. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you, Saira. Oh, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti. Thank you so much, Sai Ram.